Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and it's 12 o'clock on a Friday. What does that mean? Friday fish and chips. Let's go for a walk. Oh, and hey, like that new clock? That's a gift to me from my patrons, Larry and Christina. Thank you very much to you two for that. It's beautiful. Okay, I didn't say in the intro what this was about. And this is about this 5-word expression, I don't know what to call it, a sentence, a term, called the furnace of all creation. Kind of odd, right? You know, you're thinking blacksmithing maybe or something else, but we're gonna delve into a couple of things here. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking at a book called The Furnace of Creation, and what else was it called? Something Destruction. It's about volcanoes and tectonic plates, and the phrase "the furnace of creation" struck me. And then a few days ago, I was watching a YouTube video from Saturday Night Live, and the term came up again, except a little bit different. And the term was the furnace of all creation. And it just stuck. I was like, this is just beautiful. There's an expression in that I'm not sure how to describe. And, you know, we're going to go into territory here that it's going to be difficult for me to express because I think we're going to go beyond words. I want to say, now, the furnace of all creation, what does that evoke in your mind? You know, and everyone, I guess, would be different within limits as to what exactly that means. I guess I think of a star, you know, and maybe my mindset is a little bit, you know, tilted because I've been working on a telescope book for months now. But it just seems to me, is it referring to God, the furnace of all creation? So I've been thinking a lot about that lately, and last night I was laying in bed for a long time thinking about what it meant and how that series of 5 words put together like that just seems to signify or denote something special. And so my mind, the track of my mind went to something else. It went to an old Dylan Thomas poem called, I think it's called, it's been a long time, "The Force That Through the Green Fuse Shoots the Flower." Right? And for me, anyway, I interpret that, like, what is that force that makes the flower come through this small green fuse and blossom into a flower, right? And I think the whole thing is desire. Now, we can't, I should try to see if there's a synonym for desire that would be a better word, because desire has too many connotations for grown-ups, you know. I think you understand what I'm saying, you know, desire in terms of the opposite sex, you know. But no, desire is a whole different thing, you know. And it, you know, it means a lot. And in terms of this talk, this chautauqua that we're having, right, on this walk, is, to me, it seems to me, desire is pretty much everything. Desire is the force that through the green fuse shoots the flower. It's the want. The want to come into existence, the want to be alive, to want to stay alive, the want to experience, right?
Oh, it's such
And
a beautiful day.
so I think that's pretty wonderful. Now the why of the want,
September in
wow,
New England.
there's a sentence you don't hear
The
very
trees
often.
are
The why of
still
the
green.
want.
Pretty
The
soon
why
they'll
of the
be
want befuddles me. You know, I think that's probably the question of all questions. The why of the want. Why is there want? Why is there desire? Desire to live and desire to exist and desire to experience, you know. And it probably all goes back, we'd have to go back to the furnace of all creation to find out. The furnace, this globe of heat that's so far hot, beyond hot, that it's no longer hot. It's get to the point where it's hot heat that makes no sense for it. That's how hot it is. And that's how much it burns with desire. See, I told you early in this talk that this is going to be a difficult thing to express in words, and I'm trying to roll my tongue around it to try to communicate to you what I mean. So Where was my train of thought? My train of thought was this. So let's say that the furnace of all creation, if you keep the image in your mind of a gaseous nebula that's alive and on fire and burning in the sky, and a million times larger than Earth. Try to think of that, a million times. And there are many of them that are way more, that are a billion times larger than the Earth. Easily. Burning with fire, shedding its light into this universe, and also spreading desire. And so how do we fit into that as little people? How do we fit into that? Well, the only thing I could come up with is, the best thing I could come up with is, the only thing I could come up with is the story, right? The story. I got this little snippet in my notes about how there's this tribe somewhere, and I can't remember where. It could be New Zealand or Zulu or somewhere, I can't remember where. But this tribe believes, and you can't really quote me on this because it may be just, an old wives' tale or something. But this tribe believes that God is the ultimate storyteller, and above all things loves a story. And so the furnace of all creation desires, potentially above all other things, a story. And that's us. Each of us is a story. Each of us tells a story and lives a story and edits it in our own way. And interacts with other stories, right? Because, when it comes down to it, these flesh things that we walk around in, it's kind of strange, but the real thing is the communication between people, You can, it's what you say and what you hear and what you show to other people. That's it. So pare it all down and take away the meat machine that we're residing in, and you've got what you have left is communication with others. And communication, often the best communication, is in story. So the furnace of all creation is somewhere up there in the universe, in the blackness of the universe, burning bright and hot, and desiring the story, and shedding light and heat on everything to cultivate the story. Kind of strange, huh? We've gone kind of in a weird circuitous route here that you probably didn't expect to go down. But that's pretty much the whole thing that I wanted to say in this video. The furnace of all creation kind of been bouncing around in my head for a while now, a couple of weeks, and I've got some notes on it and what I thought about it and what I wanted to say about it. So I think let's do this. Each of us is also a furnace. You are your own furnace. You burn with heat, and you give off story, and you seek out story. Right? That's wonderful. I think that's really, really wonderful. So do your best to be true to that. And remember that when you're interacting with others, right, there's really no meat machine there. It's actually the things you say and the things you show and the things you listen. And it's that unseeing communication that has nothing to do with your physical form that actually what really counts. It's the story. It's always about the story.